It's Mary Scally with Simple Elegance and around H-Town with Simple Elegance. And today we are so excited to have one of our own, Tom Budde, who is our Director of Continual Improvements. Welcome, Tom.
Well, thank you, Mary. It's a treat to be here and be your celebrity for today.
I know. And Tom, it's been a journey for you to get to this point, but you had a previous life. So
Yes,
why
I
don't
did.
you share your previous life before you came to Simple Elegance? And I almost said Talbot's, like that's way back in my previous life.
I know. But then, that's where we have common ground is
True,
is
Boston.
New England,
New England.
and the picturesque town of Hingham, the founding spot of the Talbot's Empire.
That is so true. And
Yes.
there's actually Talbot's Drive now where the headquarters is.
Yes, there is.
But the precious quintessential Talbot store #1 right in downtown.
Yes.
So gorgeous. And I was so honored to be the district manager for District 1 years and years and years ago. And I thought when I had to resign to be a stay-at-home mom for a little while, I thought, I will be back. Well, thank goodness that direction changed. And no, I loved working for Talbot's, but there's a season for everything.
Yes.
So tell us about your journey.
Oh, well, so having grown up in New England and endured New England winters,
Yeah.
decided that I would run away for a little bit. And then I came back and was able to find some work out in Western New York and find a wife in Western New York.
A beautiful wife.
Yes.
Our
So,
own Karen Budde.
yes, she is fabulous and does such wonderful work for us. And we met up there, and I started working for Mobil, which then became ExxonMobil. And after 27 years of being mobile with Mobil and ExxonMobil,
That's a good way to put it.
we found ourselves in Houston, which for most of my career was considered a tragedy if that ever happened. But suddenly, people are in love with Houston in my family, and we're grateful and glad to be here in this great city, such a dynamic place, and things. Nothing's so sacred that it can't be rebuilt. So
That is
yes.
true. And you know what? We do not have New England winters.
No, we don't.
We have hotter and hottest,
Yes.
but from like right now on through May,
Yes.
we may have 2 weeks where it might get to 55. Actually, today was 61, which that is kind of a cold day for us.
I have
winter.
yet to wear anything heavier than a sports coat in Houston. So yes.
I'm not sure I can say that. I actually threw in a wool wrap today because
Well,
I was
that's-
like, it might just be too cold for me.
That's just ladies showing their wardrobe.
Oh,
But
yeah,
that's
yeah,
all.
yeah. Well, we're having the
It's not that
opportunity
it's really cold.
to show our wardrobe.
Yes.
So, but you guys came to Texas.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And so about 2.5 years ago, we finished things up with ExxonMobil and had a wonderful end of the career and got to enjoy the company of some really great people, doing things with emergency response and safety, and working on all of the things that help ExxonMobil become a leader and trendsetter and establishment of culture and that sort of thing. And now you've given me an opportunity to contribute to your venture and to work on making homes that are for sale in Houston as beautiful and attractive as possible.
Absolutely. And I remember going back to how we met the Buddes. It was all just this kind of, I know this person, I know this
Yes.
person. And it came down to the Exxon Moms Club, basically,
Oh,
that Jessica Hoffman, who was working for us at the time, she was with UPS. Her husband was UPS, but she had been invited into the Exxon Wives group, and she introduced us to Karen. And then you started watching how this women group over here at Simple Elegance were running things, and you're like, you were actually kind of working for a Simple Elegance for a few years, kind of complimentary.
Something like that. Yeah, something like that.
And I said, well, I'll see what I can do to pay you. Can't pay you Exxon rates. But you have been such a blessing to us, coming in and looking at our systems and saying, hey, you guys are paying for these systems. Should we use them? Maybe use them appropriately. And, we're all kind of the creative group. But it's so nice to have a person that can look at the big picture and say, well, actually, if we start doing this, we're going to be able to measure things and look at things. So tell us now what you are doing here, other than just cleaning up after Mary.
Well, so we have a customer relations management system, and that's been one area of focus for me. And we've been using it for a while, and in looking into it, we're seeing that there's a lot of opportunities for us to be able to use it so that we understand what our marketing is doing for us, and being able to make sure that as our sales opportunities come into us, that we have a process of managing that from the beginning to the end, taking advantage of other systems like document management in the way of DocuSign, and being able to use that to get our clients taken care of, processing payment in a way that's secure, that really protects our client as well. So, you all are working on serving the client through staging, and I'm working on making sure that we get a chance to serve the client, and also serve them through a safe and secure process of payment and transaction and acceptance.
And that's been such a blessing that you have taken those things, because that's just not the things that I like at all. And you pick up and you do. It's like, I can just throw things at you, Tom, and just say, take it and do this, with being in this growth development program that we are with Home Staging Redesign Association. There's been so much information that they've been throwing at us. And one of them was, which never even entered in my mind, doing a safety plan for our business.
Yes.
And it's like we start these businesses, and many of us have come from corporate America where all of these procedures were done for us.
Right.
But now it's like, okay, we have a business, and it's like, oh, guess what? We need to have all that stuff in place,
Yes.
And it's looking at it is looking at the end results of, where do you want this business to go? What do you want to do with it? Maybe 10 years down the line, but everything has to be in place. And so you worked with McKenna to actually do a diagram of our place, which
yes,
I can't wait to see that. But you've also put in so many different, this is what you have to do with this, and this is what you have to do with that. And if there's a fire, what do we do?
Right. Right.
So talk through some of the things that you were looking at when you were putting that safety plan together. Oh,
okay. Well, some of the things that are important for any business, and often based on business size, it's a requirement on DeRocha to have evacuation plans and medical plans, et cetera, for how you're going to take care of emergencies for your people. So smaller companies, typical home staging companies, will often overlook that or not even have that as a requirement. But basically putting out an evacuation plan, understanding how you're going to manage people to get them out of the building, account for them, and interact with the emergency responders when they show up, with the fire department or the medical people when they come, being able to give them the information that helps them to help you or help the victim, and get things moving as quickly. So if you can so that you can make yourself part of the team that's getting the job done. Right. And it's difficult to do that. I know one of the things that you're doing through HSRA is through industry associations. That's really a wonderful tool for home stagers and other small business people to have resources to up their game quickly and easily from what it might be left to their own devices.
Exactly. Like, you don't have to recreate the wheel. Like Home Staging Redesign Association has done so much of it for us. Now it's just organizing it and putting it into our world. But it's here, and so you're also working on that as well. And, we went to another staging company and said, hey, can we see your employee handbook?
Yes.
And we're using that as an example to really make ours is what it should be,
Right.
And so it's like copy, plagiarize. We're not technically doing that, but like with Home Staging Redesign Association, they are like, you're a part of us. We are providing this, and we want you to copy and plagiarize it because we want you to be out there building business versus trying to recreate something we've already done. So,
right.
which is huge.
So best practices, when you find them, it's called rip off and duplicate, R&D. And
exactly.
so, and I would say modify and customize to your needs.
And put Simple-elegance in.
And as long as the people that have established what's the current best practice have no problem with you working with that stuff,
right.
That's great.
Yeah.
Take it, use it, make it yours, and you may develop and take it to the next level.
Correct.
And that's your blessing to the next person.
Correct.
So.
And like with the growth and development program that we're working with, it's several staging companies across the country, and we're all aligning together so that we are running our businesses very similar. So maybe in the future, if somebody wants to do a bundle buy, we are all ready. It's being prepared for this situation.
Right. And I think that's the great thing about this too, is how it's motivating people to take on new challenges or to open their eyes to things that they wouldn't see otherwise, and to provide resources and motivation to step into areas that are important for them to be successful.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The whole marketing thing, social media, all of that, I think, we've been very successful with that, but we have a lot of room to grow. And
Right.
as we talk to other people about how they're doing it in their markets, it motivates us and gives us direction on where we need to go. And
Right.
I think it's wonderful, and it gets us beyond just doing the stage.
Right. Right.
Gosh knows that doing the stage is a lot of work, and it takes a lot of focus, and there's a lot of urgency and excitement around that, making sure that everything that needs to go has gone and goes in the right place, and amplifies the attractiveness of the home to the buyer, getting that all done. But there's all the associated stuff in terms of keeping track of your inventory, keeping track of your clients, keeping track of the people that help you market your market your services to the clients, the realtors, and connections and networks, and being able to get all of that out there, and make yourselves known to as many people as possible.
Right. All that, and one of the things that HSRA actually gave us was the client care checklist to make sure that all those things that Tom was just talking about, that they all get done, and we use the checklist, we use Trello boards to make sure that we've double checked ourselves, and then also our CRM, which really makes sure that we have everything in. And I mean, last year I remember we weren't using our checklists, we weren't using it consistently, and I started looking at auditing some different things, and we had forgotten to collect money. And we're like, that's not good. So, but there are so many things in just one staging project that it's like 37 different steps to get this one project done, and yet we have multiple projects going at any given time.
Right.
Plus the design side has multiple things going on. So it's really, really making sure that we have a system to do what we do, or else we're inefficient.
Yes. And you've taken your business from the one-person shop
Me,
Okay?
myself, and I.
Exactly. You and your partners. Okay. They all look alike, but they're very different people and different responsibilities.
Exactly.
But you've taken it from that, and we're currently at about a half a dozen people, and with volunteers, and
Contract workers.
yes, but there are so many, we are growing, and it's going to continue to grow. If we look at other companies that are around the country as well, they're multiple times larger than us in terms of personnel, et cetera. Being able to take yourself from that single person player and be able to grow with vision into a large organization that's able to work well, motivated, has a culture, has a way of doing things. And the only way that you can really do that is through an organization like HSRA.
Right.
One of the things that I got to do in the oil industry was work with oil groups, industry groups, the American Petroleum Institute, and it was amazing how much good work we could do to improve the industry and share operating practices, particularly around things like safety, environmental compliance, emergency response, where it really helps not only the people that are working around your operations, but the people who live around your operations as well.
Right. And coming to the table and not being like, oh, this is my proprietary information, but sharing. It's when you start sharing information and sharing your best practices, and I learn from you and you learn from me, and that's where we get to grow together and get better.
Right.
This week, I believe I have a lunch plan with 2 other stagers in the Houston area, and they're coming in saying, Mary, can we take you to lunch? Because we want to know what we need to do now to grow our businesses to the next step like you have. And I love that we can share, and we're not in competition. There's so much work here in Houston that, it's like, no, let me share with what I've done and tell me what you've done, and so that we can all grow together.
Right. Well, it's, the market segment's so fragmented, and I would say that, penetration into real estate nationally and locally is really has a lot of openings. So that I think it's not a life and death kind of thing when you start talking about competition. It's much more collegial atmosphere. It's wonderful what's going on in home staging. Just some really great people getting together who enjoy doing beautiful things for people.
Right.
Yes.
And that get results too.
Yes.
That's the biggest part. It's like we're not just making things pretty. We are making a measurable change in the perception of a property.
Right.
That brings positive results. A price reduction is a negative perceived value. But when you stage your house and prepare it for the marketplace and prepare it for the buyers, that's a measurable, marketable, positive change.
Certainly.
And we are doing that, and which is exciting. And we get so excited. And, I've said this many times, on Monday morning meeting, we don't ask God for just bring us the business. No, we ask the Lord to bring us those that we can serve. And in the end, that builds the business.
Right.
But our heart is really, let us have people that we can serve and make a difference in their lives. Because people, when they're moving, that's a stressful time.
Yes.
And if we can take some of those pain points out of their stress, that's what we want to do.
Right. So, and you've been there with Karen and me as well in terms of moving from place to place and getting around the country. And it isn't until we came to Houston that we really, found this whole staging thing going on. In the past, actually just before we moved down here, we were selling our house up in Massachusetts, and we thought we were ready for sale. The house was all clean. It looked great. We had a wonderful friend and a realtor who was just starting out at that time, and she has turned out to be just a fabulous realtor who is serving so many people up there so well.
That's awesome.
But she just started out, and we put the house on the market. The realtors came by for an open house. She got all of this feedback about how all the things that we liked about the house that we had put in for ourselves, like certain paint colors, certain wallpaper, certain draperies, were going to be a distraction. And I was kind of an old-fashioned New Englander kind of guy, and I said, well, they can get over it. But Karen didn't go for that. She's always one for a challenge, and so she and this realtor who was so wonderfully committed to us, she was a close friend and lived down the street from us, the two of them stripped wallpaper and painted over the next 3 days, and at the open house for buyers on Sunday, it was all set up and cleaned up and just addressed all of the issues that the realtors had. And we had 2 offers that Monday morning and another one 24 hours later.
Wow.
And so, and you know, for nearly full value of the home. And I think, you know, the thing that home staging really does is to attract the buyer, attract many buyers as possible, okay?
Many as possible.
To show the home so that the buyers can see themselves in it and not see somebody who's into 50s kitsch or who's into Andy Warhol or, you know, something like that, but allows them to see themselves in there. Oh, all we have to do is hang up a few things and bring in our stuff, and we are great. That makes it easy for people to see the home as something that they want, to show the assets, the view, the location. That's what you're looking for.
Right.
And
had you not prepared that house and had Karen and the realtor not done all that work, Tom, I wonder what the results would have been.
right.
I have a feeling they would have been very, very different.
Right. Well, we may have found buyers, but I don't think that we would have found the price. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because buyers want to move in. They don't want to remodel. You know, unless they're a special type, you know, the investors, they love to remodel, and but they want to get the house for dirt cheap. And then put some money in and they want to make that
Right.
top dollar.
Yes.
So, you know, it really is so important to prepare the house for the market. And so it's been really, really fun, and it's been great to have Karen and her. I mean, she's just so full of life, and she has such vision. And I've not heard that story before. That's so much fun. That is so awesome. So thinking back over your life, what has been one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? I know I just put you on the spot.
Yeah. So I would say that, you know, if you have an opportunity and that opportunity is out there, to take it, go for it. Keeping yourself wedded to a particular location without any much reason other than the location itself. Take the opportunity, move, go someplace, and really have it work for you. You know, we took a long time to get down to Houston. If we had put our hand up a little more, we might have been down here earlier. Don't be afraid of the cold.
Yeah.
Because it goes the other way too. My grandparents.
Don't be afraid of the heat either.
Yes, and my grandparents moved from Texas up to Houghton, Michigan, on the Upper Peninsula.
Wow.
Yeah, so it goes both ways, and it worked out great for them too. He wound up in education and wound up being the president of a university for being willing to live up in the Great North. So
Wow. And this past year, you had a great opportunity to actually go to Mozambique.
yes.
Which Share about that.
Yeah, so that was a fabulous thing. I got got a phone call from some people who were trying to source expertise, and I headed out to Mozambique, and I was thinking, I'm going to this part of Africa, and it's just, we had never worked outside of the country, and Africa in particular, I think, just has a certain expectations that people might have in terms of what life is like, and I said, that's fine. We're going to enjoy this. I'm going to learn some Portuguese. I'm going to be part of the people that are there. Went to church with the local community. Yeah. Found a church that did 3 services. The first service was in Xangana, which was the local language. Okay. The next service was in Portuguese, and the last service of the day was in English because South Africa is really close, and the church is an Anglican church. Okay. So, and it was interesting to show up the first time, and I thought I'd show up early, and I didn't show up early enough because they get up very early for church. And church is not something that's short and sweet. It's each service was 2 hours, and there was so much singing, and the music, and the music would get people dancing, and people would dance in the aisles. I was there for a baptism, and people bring in special offerings for baptisms, and these go to the seminary. Okay. And one of the things that I was surprised the first time I saw it was a goat. There was a small goat being led up the aisle as part of the offerings to go to the seminary. So it's just wonderful. And I got to know so many really great people. They helped me with my Portuguese. They helped me mix and go to the right places. And it was fabulous. It was an excellent business opportunity to use the expertise that I had built up and put it to good use for other people. So yeah, loved it.
You loved it, and we missed you, but it did go pretty fast. You were gone for a month at a time, and then you were home for a month,
yes.
And then you were gone, and then of course COVID shut it all down, because you and Karen were going to go to IHOSP Europe conference in May, because I think you were going to be over there, and then she was going to fly to Portugal or something, and unfortunately, that didn't happen, but hopefully next year it will happen, or shortly it will happen.
Yes.
And that opportunity to go back to Mozambique will be another great opportunity.
Yes.
And it's like, I love what you said, don't be afraid to say yes, because the more you get to go see other parts of the country or parts of the world, the more you learn. And you learn more about people. And that's, Hala, who's with us, she's from Egypt, and she always talks about what a blessing it was to be able to be moved around the world, and how her kids have gotten to see so many different things. They've been in great schools all over the world, and it makes you much more flexible and resilient, and kind of open to what else can there be,
right,
which is so much fun.
Yes. We're lucky because God's put wonderful people all over this world.
He has. And it's amazing when you meet up with somebody that I remember being in, I think I was in Germany, and I met up with one of my best friends' neighbors from Michigan or something like that, and I've had so many of those experiences, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this world is really small, but it's really big. So anyway, what are some of the things that you love most about Houston?
Oh boy. I think I'm going to be in with the group that says the food.
Of course.
Yes.
But we love your food too, Tom.
Yeah, I love to cook, and it's really given me an opportunity to enjoy a lot of other cuisines that I might not have otherwise had. In New England, you don't get great Vietnamese. No. You have to look for it a lot harder than you do in Houston.
Right.
So coming down here and having my first banh mi.
What's a banh mi?
Banh mi sandwich.
Yeah, what is that? Is that like Vietnamese?
Yeah, Vietnamese, and forgive the pronunciation, but It's in sort of a Vietnamese style baguette,
Okay.
sort of about the size of a bolio,
Uh-huh.
and it has some lightly pickled vegetables in it, some Vietnamese style pate, a meat of your choice, and hot pepper, either jalapeno or some other pepper that goes in with that. And I'm sure that there's some secret ingredients that I don't know about.
I'm sure there is.
Yes, and a little cilantro,
Okay.
and it's just a really refreshing, wonderful light sandwich to eat for lunch. And
Wow, I'm gonna have to ask Jim if he's ever had a banh mi.
okay,
So-
well we'll go get one sometime. There's a good place nearby.
I'll have one bite.
Okay.
Anyway, well, thank you, Tom, so
You're
much
welcome.
for joining us.
Thank you for taking me in.
This has been so much fun. Thank you for coming in and helping us. Anyway, but this has been so much fun just to spend some time with you and be part of our Around H-Town with Simple Elegance. And if you have any questions about home staging or need assistance with anything, just give us a call, 877-458-8254, or look us up on the website, simpleelegancetx.com. Have a great day.